Hello, Zeb Aurelios from Star Wars Rebels, and you're listening to Inside the Force. Carabas. Gotta go, Hera's here.
It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here, and with me back after several weeks of not being on the show with me and me not being on him, Casey Cooley.
Hi, everybody.
What's up, brother?
Not much. I actually missed you last week.
You did.
I
was in Disney, though.
Had Cody Geiler help me with that one, but
Cody's been doing several of them.
This is the first one. Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking. Like, everybody's not, they don't know who I am anymore. I have to reintroduce myself, I feel like, because I've been gone
Don't feel that way.
All right.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
No fans
anyway,
anymore.
so we have a jam-packed, and what I mean by jam-packed, we have a lot of people going to be on the show with us because this is our 200th episode of Inside the Force.
If that was a Roman numeral, CC, what is that?
CC.
Casey Cooley! It's the Casey Cooley episode.
Yeah, it is the Casey Cooley episode.
So cool. 200
episodes we've been doing this. Thanks to all of our listeners and everybody that's supported us over the time. And a lot of that has to do with the people that are going to be on this show as well. So I will get right into basically what we're doing is we're not doing our normal show. We are talking nothing about, or I'm sorry, doing nothing else but talking about the brand new Star Wars The Last Jedi trailer that just landed yesterday. All the people that are on the show that we're going to introduce here have seen it, and we're just going to break it down and talk about it. That's all we're going to do. So here we go. First, I'm going to introduce everybody individually. First off is somebody that's been with us since pretty much the beginning. He's contributed a lot, gone to all these celebrations, and has been on the show recently with me, Chad Perkins.
Hi, everybody.
What's up, man?
Hey,
nothing.
So Chad, of course, is like I said, been with us a long time. You are going to be doing our episode 5 commentary as soon as we get to it.
Yes,
as we start releasing these things continually. Next up, let's see. I've never had a really order of doing this. To Casey's right, you heard him on our Rogue One commentary. He's been joining the show recently. Jeb Smith.
Hey, everybody. Good to be back.
And Jeb is Jeb's basically our merchandise guru.
Yeah.
Because he spends a lot of money on Star Wars toys.
I hope my wife never listens to this.
Tell everybody what you just recently bought.
I just bought a Shadow Trooper costume. It's legit. My wife hates it. I also bought a mannequin to put it on. Scared the crap out of her.
That's right.
It scares me when I walk into my bar and I forget about it.
Nice.
You basically built a bar around all your Star Wars stuff.
I did. I built a bar in my house for all my Star Wars stuff.
That's what you do usually when you have this stuff. Yeah. To his right, you heard him on our episode 3 commentary, as well as joining me on the show a couple times, Anthony Guglielmi.
Hey. How now, brown cow? Sorry, I was watching the trailer on my phone.
I told you guys to stop that. That's fine. To his right, the guy's been kind of replaced both of us on the show the past few weeks, Cody
Jay
Geiler.
Leno to my Johnny Carr.
What's up? Moof milkers and nerf herders.
Oh, he almost butchered it. Good job.
Almost butchered that line.
So Cody is going to be joining us on our episode 7 commentary. It's
Force
going to be
Awakens.
released right before The Last Jedi comes out in December.
Can't wait.
Especially with what we've got talking about here. It's
Yes.
going to be crazy to talk about what's episode 7. We haven't done a commentary for that yet, actually, either. So to his right is a brand new newcomer. We finally got a female on the show, Samantha Luse. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
And you even brought your first order socks. Is that what that is?
They're Stormtrooper socks.
First order Stormtrooper socks. Yes.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice.
So this is going to be cool to get her take on this trailer that just dropped. Okay, so we're just going to get right into it. What we're going to do is I've got several questions that, based on what I watched, that I'll ask throughout to each one of you, and then we'll just start a discussion on it and see where it goes. 'Cause I'm sure a lot of stuff's going to come up because me and Casey just talking last night over it. I felt like he saw a different trailer than I saw.
Yeah.
He texted me and said, I think it's pretty much laid out what's going to happen. I was like, I have no idea what's going to happen. So let's get right into it. As the trailer starts, you hear Snoke's voice, and you see shots of Kylo, and then it ends with kind of the shot of Rey igniting the saber. So my first question, and it took me a couple times after I watched it to really, really think about this, but I'm going to throw it to you, Chad, first. Who is Snoke actually talking about in your mind?
Oh, he's talking to me. if we're talking about it in my mind,
Yeah.
he's talking about me.
Talking to me.
I have
Right.
raw talent.
Because he talks about the rage, he talks about the power. Who's he talking about?
Yeah, when I first watched it a couple times, I thought he was talking about Kylo, but the more I watched it, I was like, they try to trick us a lot in trailers. He might not be talking. He might be talking to Rey or Luke. So who knows? I mean, I don't know, and there's no way to know. I don't know. You don't know.
Well, those away. You don't know.
Okay, no, but that's a good start to it. Is do you feel like seeing this that it was pretty laid out, or was there a lot of misdirection?
When I first watched it, my initial thought was, I wish I hadn't watched it, because I thought it did just lay everything out and spoil everything. Then I was like, they wouldn't do that. They didn't do that in The Force Awakens.
Different director, though.
Yeah, different director. But the director doesn't cut the trailer.
That's
you
true.
know, and it's got to go through Kathleen Kennedy. She's going to have the final say on the trailer. So I think it is a lot of misdirection. So I don't know. Now, could Snoke still be talking to Kylo? Of course. And it's fairly likely. I don't know. I think it's 50-50 Kylo or Rey right now. I think it would be pretty cool if he was talking to Luke, though, because he's obviously been around, and look how wrinkly and pruny he is. He's been in the bath too long.
Right.
Yeah.
But remember, I think his
Just
first
has that
line is
robe on.
actually, "When I found you."
Yeah.
And when I found you. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So,
Well, maybe he found Luke. People are looking for Luke, weren't they?
But one thing is though, how much misdirection? Because like you could say like, well, that line "when I found you" was a different moment than when he says the rest of the.
it's
lines.
possible. Totally.
Absolutely.
It's just like,
and it does
at that
actually.
point,
I did,
you're like, oh,
I did notice that it
the whole
sounded
thing
more
is-
echoey in the beginning, and then when he starts talking about
yes, no, at the very end when he says
power and all that
raw
stuff,
power, yeah,
Something
it's
else at the
less
end, yeah.
echoey, less reverb.
that's true. But
Now that could be a trailer.
Again,
it could be a
yes.
track, an effect of the
Yes.
people who cut the trailer, or that could actually be how it is in the movie.
because you think of the other trailers,
That might not even be in the movie at all.
right.
It might-
like,
it might
That's what
happen
happened in
out.
Force
Very
Awakens
true.
a lot
Exactly.
too. There
And
were
then-
scenes that I was
yeah.
waiting for, and I was
especially
like, "What?
Rogue One.
Yeah.
Where'd that scene go?" I
Right.
was so
Yeah.
excited for it, and then
Right.
it never happened.
Yep,
Yep.
because it's
We'll
a
just
completely,
talk
for
about
those
the way
people who
he
don't know,
said raw.
it's a completely different company that cuts the movie.
Don't throw anybody
than
else
the
out
trailers.
of the trailer.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're worried about doing that again, though, like they did with Rogue One.
Well,
Like,
Rogue One had reshoots.
Right.
Did this one have reshoots?
it's
It
not,
did have
every
some.
movie
Not
will
like-
have
like-
some
not-
reshoots,
Some,
but
but like extensive
not-
reshoots. Like,
Not to change the story.
Right.
No.
yeah.
So you think most of the things we're seeing in the trailer probably ending up in the film at this point?
So who do you think Snoke's talking to or talking about?
I think it's not a misdirect in this point, because I think that, like Chad said, the trailer tried to misdirect a lot of things near the end, especially. But I think this is just Snoke's talking about when he found Kylo. He's talking about his power. It's probably going to be in that beginning part of the film where Kylo is coming to finish his training with Snoke. I think you're going to see like a duality sort of Rocky montage of Kylo training with Snoke and Rey training
Called
with
it last time.
Not getting trained by Luke, but wanting to be trained and maybe having to train herself. So it's like this whole thing where
Flailing the
Kylo's got all the
lightsaber
toys and all the things to make him better in his training, and Rey's having to like scrap together and fight lightsabers against rocks and stuff because Luke's a no-show basically.
It's exactly, yeah, we talked about this, 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's a Rocky IV montage with 80s music. Kylo training with the toys, and then like Rey pulling boulders.
Right. I really hope
So-
Luke says, "You're too old." You know, I hope it mirrors that. You're too.
yeah.
He even does the impression. Too old. Sorry, someone's in my throat. You're too old.
I kind of assumed the opposite. I kind of thought he was talking to Rey when he said, "I found you," and then that kind of would help us try to piece together where Rey came from. Like he says when he found you, he was acting like he's known her for a long time. So,
Right.
he is wrinkly and old. Maybe he's somebody else that we assumed disappeared from the old trilogy. Maybe he can piece together where her family is, where she comes from. And also, I don't know, I feel like Star Wars has a lot of patterns that repeat themselves.
They do.
So far.
So when Palpatine wanted whatever that other guy's name was before he got
Plagueis?
Darth Vader. Yeah.
Wait, sorry.
Dooku?
Yeah.
Oh, that guy. Before.
So this
Yeah,
could
yeah,
be
sorry.
He's easily
Snoke
forgettable.
wanting Kylo Ren, but then realizing, oh, Rey's better and stronger. Maybe I want her. So
Absolutely.
I
rather
thought he
have
was
your
talking about
sister.
Rey.
You thought he was talking about Rey right
Yeah,
off the bat?
absolutely. Because it seems like he kind of gave up on Kylo in the last movie. He kept failing and messing up, and I think he just disappointed Snoke a lot. Because he stopped a laser, but then he couldn't defeat someone who's never used a lightsaber before. So, he stopped a laser in midair with the Force, but then a novice with a lightsaber, he was getting his butt handed to him.
He did get hit with a
There's a defense against
bowcaster.
that. He's not a novice against
bowcaster is very powerful
melee weapon.
But I will say that to the two separate points. So I thought he was talking to Kylo because it kind of sounds disciplinarian to me. Like, when I found you, this is what you were, and you're letting me down. So I kind of hear that in the speech of like this is what you were when I found you. I made you who you are. But during Celebration, Rian Johnson did bring up that we're going to find out more about Rey's past.
Correct.
So
Well, we're going to find out exactly her past.
Exactly. So
that's
could
why
be referencing that. I have no idea.
Totally, and that's why I'm with you, Sam. That I thought that Snoke was talking to Rey.
Yeah.
I thought this is his explanation. He's telling her past. When I found you, and that's why it, to me, then starts to put together. Okay, somebody then was threatened and then hit her on Jakku. And I don't know if it was Luke now, because I had this whole time I knew it was Luke that put her there. I don't know anymore. I don't know about that anymore. So who was in the ship that put her there? But I don't know. And as we go on and talk about it, my whole feeling of this is that this whole trailer is really Rey. Is about Rey.
That's how I felt. I feel like it's watching her struggle from light to dark. Like even in one of the last little scenes of the trailer, half of her face is lit and half of her face is dark. I think that's symbolism for the struggle that's going to be going on throughout the whole movie. Maybe she finds out that she stems from the dark side and is
They don't put symbolism in movies.
Okay, so
That's a good point. I like that. I like that thought.
Yeah, it's exactly it. I think so. As we get into, Casey brought this up last night about the training that you just said, Cody. How long? Because Casey, you threw out yesterday. You thought actually that you think that maybe the majority of the movie they're on the island.
Yeah.
While all this other stuff's happening with the First Order and the Resistance and all this stuff. How long? I'll throw it to you, Cody. How long do you think actually are they on the island training throughout the movie? Now, remember, this is the longest running time in a Star Wars film, 2.5 hours.
Right.
So,
see, I think we talked a little bit about the runtime on the show previously. I think that is why what Casey said about them being on the island for a majority of the movie is going to be the case, because we're not going to get to see that epic moment of Luke until late in the third act. And I don't think Luke is going to be the Luke we want him to be until late in the third act when we need him the most.
mm-hmm.
So he's going to Yoda Attack of the Clones them, basically.
I don't know if we're going to... I would love to see him somehow get a hold of a lightsaber just for that epic sort of what that shot would be, him igniting a lightsaber and that
for old time's sake,
green glow on his face, or his lightsaber's hidden in R2-D2 and he pops it out like Return of the Jedi or something. That would be awesome. But I don't know if it's going to happen. We might just see more of because a lot of this movie is the raw, untapped Force power. Kylo's not, he's been trained by Snoke, but he's got this raw, just sort of untrained way about him. And Rey, I don't think she's going to get trained by Luke in this movie. I think that she's going to struggle, and that's why we're going to see a lot of the time of them spent together on the island. I think she's going to be like at his stoop, asking to get trained every day, going out by the rocks, doing all her saber techniques, digging into those books that are on the island, learning what she can, and Luke's basically going to be like, no, I did this before, and it turned out bad. And now Luke is going to fail a second time, not just, the first time he failed because he trained Ben Solo and he went to the dark side. Now he's going to fail because he didn't show up. And then Luke's sort of arc, I think, in the new trilogy is going to be him coming back to the table and him getting back in the fight. So I think, unfortunately, this movie, Luke's not going to be with it. He's going to be crazy old wizard Luke.
Until the third act.
Until the third act.
Because I think a lot of what you hear him talking about in this trailer, I think he's talking to either Obi-Wan or Yoda.
Oh, that'd be
or
awesome.
Anakin. Like, when he's talking about, I've seen this power before.
Yeah.
It didn't scare me then, but it scares me now. I think he's talking to one of those three. And then I also think that when he says this isn't going to end the way you think it's going to end, or something like that, he says something like that. I think he's talking to one of those Force ghosts.
That'd be awesome.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't think he's saying those things to Rey.
Well, I don't think he's saying some of that to Rey. I think he's saying some of it to Kylo.
You think?
Or Snoke.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, because I think they're on the island for the bulk of the time. I think Luke does train her a little bit because I think enough to get her into that meditation kind of, centering yourself kind of thing until he sees what she can do.
Says the power.
Meditating.
Cracking that boulder in half.
Yeah, exactly. So then he backs away from it. But yeah, there's a lot of shots at the end where it's dark, it's rainy, and they're all wet and whatever, something's happening. That seems very intriguing, like something's very ominous is happening there. And there's actually a shot where Rey and Luke almost looks like a face-off, like they're just standing in front of each other, and it looks like they're both ready for something, but it looks very scary. I'm believing the rumors where that Kylo and the Knights of Ren do come to Octo Island. And I think
I definitely think that happens.
I think that happens at the end. Yeah. And I think that's what triggers Rey to.
See, I don't think that. See, that's where we're different. I think it happens pretty early on in the film.
Yeah,
I think it happens pretty by the end of the first act.
I would agree with that.
I think there's that fight on the island, and that's where I don't want to get too much into our predictions, really, but like that's where I think that Rey gets taken. And
do you think she gets captured?
I do think she gets captured.
Okay,
I think she gets taken to Snoke.
That kind of makes sense.
That's my theory. Then that's kind of what, but that's why I'm a little. That's a little disagreement on you there because I think it would. And for one, I think if as a service, not a service, but as a filmmaker, I don't know if you can keep those two through almost an entire movie on there. You know what I mean? I don't know if there's enough there. But anyway, so I feel like that gets summarized more in the first act of not training, and then Kylo finding his location and getting there or whatever. But I do think, like, on top of that training, like, now I don't 100% believe in this yet, but I think it's something I thought of last night. But when Luke is talking about, I've seen that power before, I actually kind of think he's talking about himself. Because if you look at, like, if you think about what happened, because we don't know what happened, right? All we know is that he was training all these new generations of Jedi, and then somehow Snoke came in, turned Kylo, and helped destroy his order, right? And apparently Luke is the only survivor. Everybody else got wiped out. Well, I don't know. My thought was, what if he got so enraged that he just did that himself?
That Luke
somehow,
killed him?
That Luke destroyed, in retaliation of what happened to Ben and what happened to Snoke. I don't know. My feeling is that, because you remember, at least in the EU, and I don't know if I can anymore, but he struggled a lot with tipping to the dark side several times. And he actually went one time in Empire's End, or Dark Empire, right? Yep. So I don't know. And you kind of, I mean, that was the whole fear with Yoda, right? He's too old. He contained himself enough in return that he didn't turn to the dark side. But I don't know. I feel like he's still there's so much power. I think Luke is more powerful than we can ever imagine right now.
Well, all of Luke's force and his is tied to his emotion. If you think about his training and the way he learned, he always followed his emotion, which is totally different than the Jedi of episode 1, 2, and 3. So I actually really like that theory that Luke maybe was responsible or had a part to play in the whatever happened to the Academy.
Correct.
Because I do think
that's why he would vanish himself.
I think that would force Rey to potentially want to leave Luke on the island, or split them up to where Kylo drops this knowledge on her, like, you think I killed all those Jedi? No. Luke killed the Jedi.
Okay.
And then
something like that, yeah.
Well,
that's kind of where I was going with it.
If he did that, then wouldn't he then be afraid of his own power? Because he says he wasn't afraid of what he experienced before.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's part of me. Like he saw the raw power. It didn't really make him afraid, but it made him realize that I can't do this. Like I can't. I have to go choose to isolate myself so I don't, turn to the dark side and bring all this destruction to the galaxy.
That would make more sense why he hermited away.
I need to go away and separate myself and be hidden. Now, why did he leave the map behind to find? I don't think he did. I don't know where the map thing technically came from, or why R2 had a part of it, BB-8 had Laura Van Secca had part of it, blah blah blah. But anyway, part of me felt like he was talking about himself, and that now he sees someone with that much power, it does make him afraid. So
I think there's arguments he could be talking. It seemed like it makes you think that he's talking about Kylo.
Totally,
but,
and I think he ultimately probably is talking about Kylo. I just think
I kind of thought too maybe he could be talking about. I was thinking out of the box, talking about Vader. And once again, making a connection for the Chosen One.
Really?
Yeah. The Chosen One type of thing.
Yes.
Because he came across Vader's power. Obviously, what we saw in the movies, it never scared him. But he's seeing something even stronger now, which does terrify him. Or Kylo, or it could be Rey. And again, that goes along with what Snoke was talking about, whomever he's referring to in regards to raw power, whether it's Kylo or Rey, and then that's kind of the same thing that
it's pronounced
raw. But just remember though, when episode 5, Yoda says whatever I can't remember specifically, but remember he says, "I won't fail you. I'm not afraid." So he's not afraid. He wasn't afraid of learning his power and figuring out. That's kind of where I was thinking with that, and then, but he sees Rey so uncontrolled and so, powerful. But again, it's like, where does her power come from? That's
what it begs the question. Is she a Skywalker? Does she come from him?
Is that still up in the air for people?
If he is the most powerful Jedi that we've seen, and she is already that powerful, then what other bloodline is she coming from?
And this is still the Skywalker saga. So
she's a Jin.
And Urso? And Urso?
Qui-Gon.
Oh, Jen.
Qui-Gon was way
incubated. Frozen.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's that part is that part of that whole trailer really kind of threw me for a little bit, because again, I did think it was just Kylo, but then I started thinking about why he's so. Because that scene is so good with Mark, as his face is like he's terrified.
He looks terrified.
Man.
He looks afraid.
He is freaking terrified.
He was like a crazy old wizard the whole time. He's like a scraggly, burlap sack-wearing Jedi wizard.
So if I remember correctly, we get more into we get into the whole sequence of Kylo and his starfighter, the silencer, right?
Which is awesome.
Silencer.
Yeah,
that thing.
Talking about the game?
No, I'm talking about the scene.
Oh yeah,
where he's like spiraling and firing off like lasers.
Yeah, because we've never seen Kylo as a pilot.
No. And he looked like he's really good.
It's in his blood, man.
It is in his blood.
He has no stress on his face. He's just calmly doing the dials.
So the big talk around is does he kill Leia?
Or do those two scenes even really go together?
I don't think that they do, because the ship he's targeting is a smaller ship. What? Like the one that's on his screen.
According to the screen, it's only 2 inches.
Exactly. It's only
No, I think it's.
No.
I think
that's
it's
a big ship. It's a Mon Cal. That looks like a Mon Cal.
Because where the X is the control center, the control part.
Okay,
of
it just doesn't.
So those two scenes probably are together.
I think that's pretty similar, because, why would he be hesitating to kill just a regular?
Yeah,
Resistance guy.
Who else could it be?
Isn't there a voiceover where he's like, "Leave your past behind" or
Yeah,
something
that's
like
what he
that?
said. Kill it
if you have
Yeah,
to.
so I feel like it just makes sense to continue the trend of killing your
I
parents.
trust nothing.
And I think that happens.
So
in
do you
trailer.
actually think he kills Leia?
I don't want to think it'd be that obvious, but I think that she's gonna have to die regardless. So
she's gonna die.
Well,
it just makes the most sense to me. Well,
I don't.
I
the
think just
actress
because
died.
Snoke's
so-
gonna kill her.
just because they keep saying that they have said in the past that they have not changed and they're not going to change anything regarding Carrie Fisher's performance unless they've changed their minds on that.
Yeah.
She survives at the end of this movie. But if they never said that, then I would have thought she will die in this movie because that's what the trailer makes you believe. But I do think that happens early on in the movie, though. I think that's one of the first act or maybe early second act kind of a thing like that because I think that whole thing is around the escape of Dakar. And
It is.
That's what.
Yeah, I agree.
And then he contemplates killing his mom because he just killed his dad. So it's like, why not keep going? But then.
So do you think he
can't do it.
isn't able to pull the trigger because he's still got?
Oh yeah,
that
they're still
good
good
in
in
him?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
See,
Wait, so who think so
I think Snoke's gonna kill Leia.
in this movie?
Yes, and I think that it's going to flip Kylo.
So you think? But you think they
I
change
think
their minds?
I think Rey and Kylo flip.
Ray
Okay, so
becomes
that's
a
an
bad
interesting
guy.
theory, and I do want to get more into that because
They might flip, but I don't think Snoke would kill Leia. I think he wouldn't pass up the
I don't know.
opportunity to
Well,
make Kylo kill her.
I
'Cause
have that based on other
know.
speculations, but that's based on the fact that Snoke might be like this kind of Sith that can suck like force power out of other people that are force sensitive or have force abilities. And if he kills Leia, that's a lot of force power coming out of her.
It's not
And
Highlander.
it makes
yeah,
I
that
know.
doesn't really exist.
you don't know that yet.
Could. I guess I could, but
So,
I think
but besides the point, even so, like
Oh, that's good. I like that.
He could do it with different intentions. Like
Yeah.
maybe he thinks if he does it, it'll push Kylo to so much hatred, it'll turn him no matter what he wants to do. It'll finalize it for him. Maybe he's doing it for him, and then it winds up
Interesting.
backfiring.
yeah. In a way, I think
I don't know why
a
Jar Jar
possibility
would do
could be
any
a possibility.
Snoke and
Not
Jar
that
Jar.
necessarily they flip in terms of like Kylo becomes good and Rey becomes bad. I think a possibility could be that they just both join the same side against everybody almost. I don't know. Like Kylo just tries to destroy Snoke and the Resistance, and Rey just needs a purpose. And I guess she's such a vulnerable place that she follows Kylo because he reaches his hand out to her.
You need a
presumably.
teacher.
Yeah, you need a teacher.
I can show you the ways of the Force.
So I think that is a possibility that like Rey leaves to join Kylo on just their own crusade, but I don't know how firmly I believe that, but I think it's a possibility.
Plot twist.
What?
They're romantic.
And
What do you
they're
have on that?
related.
What do you have on them?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
so
you know what's happened
Luke and Leia
before.
were
They're cousins,
romantic
man.
before they knew they were brother and sister.
So what you think? That,
Maybe they're
you
just
think that's
cousins. There's nothing wrong with
I
that.
think
Possibility?
I think it's potential.
That's Jerry Lewis.
So you
If
don't
we're
think?
in the-
do you
if
think?
we're in
So
the
you
Star
don't think they're
Wars-
related, or you think they're related?
Well, chicks
I think
do
they
dig
could be
scars.
related, but
So.
Can we talk about that scar?
The
That's
zipper,
made of carbon fiber.
The
that,
black
that
zipper
looks
that he
awful
has.
on his face.
His zipper
It's just
face?
like,
It looks.
it's a
It looked
Band-Aid.
like duct
It's a
tape
Band-Aid.
with
That's
holes
the one
and
part of
stitching in
the
it.
trailer that I didn't like was Kylo's zipper face.
I don't think he has it on for very long.
It's all I could look at.
Yeah.
It's like, don't you have more money, Lucasfilm?
It looked like scales.
It did look like
It's
scales.
just a
But it was
high-
only
it's
on this
just a
part. It wasn't on this
high-tech
part.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the top part
Get
didn't
over
have it.
So this must have been deeper.
Is
Yeah.
okay.
'Cause that
So
was
is that
just-
is that where from episode 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When she sliced his face.
Yeah. It goes away. He heals. It's nice.
I do.
Good line at the end.
I mean, I don't know about the romance necessarily. I'm still torn. I just because I had a theory. I don't know if you guys heard, but I had a theory several months ago when we first started talking about it. That I was really like dead set. Like I'm going to stick with this theory.
I still think it's a good theory.
My theory is that she could possibly still be Leia's daughter,
Yeah.
just 10 years younger than Kylo. Because if you read the books and you follow like me and Casey do, she's still married. They're still married. Han and Leia are still married, but just their marriage isn't the traditional marriage where they live in the same house and all that. I mean, he still goes out and does his thing. She's still running, government stuff. So they're not always together. But my theory is that it's not Han's daughter.
Right, because he saw her. He would.
Yeah.
Don't you think that if he had a daughter, he would kind of have some sort of inkling that might be her all grown up?
Well,
I don't know.
maybe
I know plenty of
he
dads
doesn't
that
have.
don't know who their daughters are,
Go to
or
a strip
they
club.
even had them.
Or if he
Watch
didn't know.
Maury.
But Leia would definitely have to know that she had a daughter.
She does.
But Leia
Yeah.
and Rey shared a scene at the end of The Force Awakens, and it was really weird how they edited that scene because they shared no dialogue.
No.
And then at the end, she says, "May the Force be
Force be
with
with
you."
you.
You know,
Oh,
it was
like, well, you
nice
can't,
moment.
can't forget that it's been
Presbyterian
established in
Church.
Star Wars that
Catholic, but-
10 or so years after, a parent doesn't always recognize their kid if it's been 10 or so years.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Vader stares at Leia right on.
But if
Phantom
she
before,
knows
right?
that she has the
I mean,
Force,
but, like,
then
there's-
she's
But
like,
she
where
knows
else
that
did
she
this
came from
kid get-
Jakku because that's common knowledge when they are all
Yeah, but
talking.
she might not know where she was hidden. You know, she could have been born. You know, my theory was she was born. She's a chosen one. She was born of the Force, like Anakin, and Luke knew that and recognized that and was fearful of her after this whole thing happened with Kylo. So he took her from Leia and hid her. Leia didn't know where she was. So that's why I mean, it's possible. I think that she could put two and two together eventually. That this is a possibility, but like you said, the Force doesn't tell you that that's your daughter, right? I mean, she could probably sense something there that she's sensitive, just like whether or not Leia has. I don't know if she has in 30 years. It doesn't seem like in the books she has actually, practiced any force sensitivity at all either. So, I mean, she obviously sensed that something happened to Han when he died, right? But I don't know how much in tuned. Just a side note too on that, the Force side. Like I thought how badass would it be if, Kylo is like staring down the ship, and he fires, and somehow she uses the Force to like deflect it. Like I thought that would be badass. I don't
Force
think it's
push
gonna
laser back at you.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Also, it's only been a few hours from.
It has been.
So Leia probably hasn't had a whole lot of time with
Right.
Rey.
So I'm kind of sticking with that theory a little bit, but I'm not. Just
No,
because,
Luke, Leia, Ren, Rey. It just makes too much sense,
Yeah.
Like I think they definitely are at least.
I
half
really want
siblings.
her to be a Skywalker.
A Skywalker.
Yeah. I do
too.
Solo.
I do
really
too.
want that. I just.
I mean, obviously, the first theory everybody thought it was Luke's daughter.
Right.
That seems like it's. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how that's even possible.
Yeah.
Right now, based on what he's done, but
He created her.
I don't know. So yeah,
I don't know.
but I do think she's some. I just gotta think she somehow has Skywalker blood somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Definitely a possibility.
Blood transfusion.
Yep.
Midi-chlorian transfer.
So that did kind of tailspin into my next question was kind of what we were just talking about, but a little bit more deeper what you said about each of their fates, Kylo and Rey, because I am somewhat on Anthony's side a little bit because I do feel like there seems to me in a way with the misdirection of this trailer, I feel like I do get, especially that last scene. Like I don't think that last scene is actually the same scene.
Neither do I.
So
It's also got to be earlier in the movie, in my opinion, because
Okay.
Rey is wearing the same jacket outfit from the end of Force Awakens when she's talking
yes,
before it cuts to Kylo.
totally agree.
So
She's also got her hair down when she's facing off with Luke. I noticed that. I was going to bring that up
You can
earlier,
put a
but
jacket back on.
Well,
though.
yeah. Well, yeah. Okay.
Whatever.
But anyway,
Not
let's
that
talk
hard.
about let's talk about what we believe this movie will end up being for each one of these characters. Again, for example, I'm kind of on that fence that there is possibly a shift in sides. Like I feel like Rey will be tempted, and I feel like Kylo is still struggling after because I think it was even brought up too that I read that in the Force Awakens novelization, it even says at the end that he killed his father thinking that will fully submerge him into the dark side, but it didn't. He still has
Right.
those
Almost
possible
immediately
struggling
felt the regret.
the regret, correct. So there is a struggle there, and I do feel like that the redemption that we saw with Vader could happen with Kylo. I don't know about this movie, but maybe in the 9th movie. So I don't know. That's open to fate.
Fate of just everybody.
The characters, those two characters necessarily. Wait.
I don't think she swaps. I think she remains good. I mean, she's had like a horrible life on Jakku, and she's remained good. Never broke the law. Didn't even want to sell BB-8 when she had all that option to get all that food, and she's been starving her whole life. But she didn't have any allegiance to this little robot. But she didn't do it. So I think I think she has a lot more fortitude. No.
That sounds right.
Fortitude,
Sure.
internal fortitude to stay light because of what she's been through.
Okay.
I think she'll remain good.
But you still think they're flipping?
It's just like a feeling that I have that it's possible that it can happen.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that I believe it's going to happen and I don't believe anything else could happen. I'm thinking that it's also possible that I didn't even think about like the fact that Luke could have been the one that killed all the Jedi. And like because if that happened, then Kylo
This changes everything.
could go back to the light side with the help of Anakin. Like Anakin shows up as a Force ghost and helps Kylo come back to the light side instead of Luke, and then Rey could join Kylo that way, and that Luke could be.
So who's the Force Ghost going to be?
I think we're going to see a lot of Force ghosts.
Yeah, you're all about the Force Ghost.
I mean, who's going to play it?
Well, it'll be
have to be Hayden.
Yeah, it's going to be Hayden.
Doesn't have to be.
But I also think Ewan McGregor is going to show up, and I
something
think
else.
we may
Doesn't
even
have to be.
hear.
What do you mean?
That's
I think
from a
we
certain
may
point of view.
even hear Liam Neeson's voice.
Wait, whoa, hold on, wait.
Just saying. Well, he asked me.
You
I
only-
thought he was asking me how many Force ghosts I think are going to be in it.
17.
So what's the number of Force ghosts?
I don't know.
25.
Well, obviously, it's not going to be Qui-Gon's not going to be a Force ghost, but I think we may hear his voice.
Why would
Well,
he
he's
be?
not a Force ghost.
He can't be a Force ghost.
Not exactly.
You guys need to read.
You got to read from a certain point of view.
from a certain point
See,
of view.
yeah, I don't-
You might have a different point of view.
Just read the Master
Yeah, I
and
need
Apprentice
to
story.
read it.
Changes everything.
All right,
I've
I'll read
listened
it.
to some of them.
I read the first one. I read the first one last night. It's Captain Antilles,
yeah.
which was
We still need
which was really
hooking up
good.
with that.
If anybody wants to know exactly the bridge between Rogue One and A New Hope,
Yeah,
that's the story.
look at the minutes that pass. in
Yeah,
between.
it's awesome. Fate.
I think the idea of either them flipping or Rey not arriving, fully trained as a Jedi, something is definitely going to be unexpected. And I think sort of what you were talking about with Luke maybe having some kind of different involvement in the past with how the Jedi were disrupted, how Ben, went off to the dark side. I think there's something there that is going to be a big plot twist. And I think it might be, if Kylo comes to Ahch-To, coming looking for them to fight or whatever, I think Kylo's going to be the one that drops the big knowledge on Rey to sort of be like, oh, you think Luke's going to train you? Mm-hmm. No, Luke's not going to train you.
Luke is your ally?
Yeah, you think Luke is your ally? I was born in the darkness. No, I think that Kylo is going to be the one that drops the big I am your father moment, where he's like, yeah, Luke's not going to be your mentor, or and then Rey's going to have to make that choice. And I think if Luke is the reluctant teacher, then she's going to be like, well, I need somebody to train me. Mm-hmm. So that could be a moment in my head where Rey actually does go with Kylo and doesn't get captured, to where I don't know if they decide to team up in some way where it's not like Luke versus Rey, Kylo, Snoke. It's Kylo and Rey on their own. Yeah. Snoke has his own motives, and Luke is going to eventually join up with Resistance and try to get back with them. So I just see it being a lot more muddy than in the past, where it's been light versus dark. I think it's not going to be as clear cut at the end of The Last Jedi.
Don't say that.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not saying gray, but there is a moment in the.
You're saying there's a lot of gray areas.
Gray areas in the behind the scenes trailer. This could be in any point in the movie, but you do see Adam Driver training with his lightsaber against two guys with two-handed stick weapons, which I believe to be the Praetorian Guards that are Snoke's guards. So that could be his training montage, or my new theory
He could be fighting.
is that he's fighting them at the end when Rey is being suspended by Snoke in the trailer, that he takes up his lightsaber and decides maybe Snoke tries to kill her and he's not okay with that. because he wants
That's my sister.
to train her or something.
Or cousin.
I'm related to her somehow.
That's my kin.
That behind the scenes trailer also shows Rey fighting 3 people with 2-handed
Correct.
weapons.
Which is on Octo, I think.
You think it's on Octu? So you think the Praetorian Guards come there?
No, I think that's the Knights of Ren.
Knights of Ren.
I don't know if the Knights of Ren have a lot of 2-handed melee weapons.
They have all kinds of weapons. They have different types of
Weapons
weapons.
up the wazoo.
Could.
Yeah.
But I think it's odd that they're
Force
both
Order.
fighting against people with 2-handed
Yeah, that's a
weapons
good
in the
point.
behind the scenes trailer.
He could be training the Knights.
Yeah.
Could be.
More and more, I do think that they team up like that, and possibility of even.
You're out of here, Anthony.
I gotta go.
Anthony's got to get
That's
out
it
of
for
here.
Anthony, everybody.
That's it for Anthony. Thank you, man.
All right, Anthony.
No,
All right. Well,
we got your.
Partially set the mic down
Yeah.
on the concrete.
I'm gonna set it down. All right, on this comfy chair. I love everybody that listens to this podcast. Goodbye.
Thanks,
He's
man.
never coming back on the show.
You're fired.
But anyways, Kylo and Rey teaming up. I kind of slowly get more behind that, and even to the fact that maybe Kylo and Rey kill Snoke in this movie, and then the big
Then where does that
conflict
leave
in
the
the
next movie.
big conflict could be Kylo and Rey's mission to do, or Kylo's mission to do whatever he wants to do. He I think still has his mission. He wants to kill Resistance. He wants to remake the galaxy. So that's the whole thing with the Sith and dark sides. They always. I mean, I think that's a simple. I don't think that's ever going to change. Like Snoke's big thing is he wants power. He wants control. He wants to live forever. I think that's going to be Kylo's thing. I mean, I think that's just the way it is with the Sith, and if that's what he wants to be. And Rey, I think, is just she's so vulnerable and twisted, whether she knows it or not, twisted by the dark side to where she will make those decisions to follow Kylo to wherever. I don't know. A possibility.
Yeah.
Just a possibility.
I think there's definitely going to be a temporary alliance. They're going to think it's temporary for their own motives. But I'm kind of hoping that they'll grow fond of each other and see themselves in each other. And then there will be the struggle. Will she go to the dark side? Can he come back to the light? And, I mean, I'm obviously one of those good conquers all kind of people.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that
Well, it's
he
Star
will
Wars, so,
turn
yeah.
against at least Snoke.
Uh-huh.
And they'll kind of team up, and then the next movie will just be like them being badasses
I
together.
mean, how can you not? At some point, Rey's on Snoke's ship, and Kylo and Rey possibly together on Snoke's ship. So this raw talent that they both apparently have, how can you not? I mean, again, the whole thing with the Sith is the apprentice has to defeat the master. That's just the way it is. That's how it always ends up. So how can Kylo not pass up the opportunity to kill Snoke when he has Rey right there with him? If they are together, all in the same room.
Mm-hmm. Chad, you thinking about this for a long time?
Yeah, I've heard
Chad's asleep.
I've heard a lot of stuff. I don't know. I don't know. Part of me thinks it's gonna more closely mirror 4, 5, and 6. So the Snoke will be in 9.
Yeah. That's very
and all that.
Likely, yes.
What I'm just really hoping is Luke, doesn't die or decide to die like Obi-Wan. That's the thing. Like in Episode 4, when Obi-Wan says, "If you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you can ever imagine." Like I don't think we ever really saw that. Sure we saw his Force ghost and all that, but we never. Did he really become more powerful than Vader could ever imagine? I don't know.
You should read from a certain point of view.
Okay.
There's a really good story about that.
We haven't seen that because there's that other realm that you can exist as a Jedi that we don't know because
So I'm
we never saw
wondering
Obi-Wan.
if Luke, like especially when he's saying this isn't going to turn out how you think it is, if he's like
It's the same thing.
Yeah. Sacrifices himself, and then we finally see what Ben was talking, or Obi-Wan was talking about him being more powerful than.
That's a good point.
Which I hope doesn't, and part of me thinks it won't because Episode 7 was Han Solo's movie. This one's supposed to be Leia's movie, so I'm thinking 9 will be Luke's movie.
I think it was. Isn't
It's supposed
it
to be
backwards?
reversed.
9 was supposed to be Leia's.
9 was supposed to be
Can't
Leia's.
now.
Right.
That's the thing. Like I just don't know if they've changed their minds or not about how they're going to treat Leia.
I think if they once they found out, I'm not saying they went back and changed it, but I don't think they can afford to not have Mark Hamill in Episode 9 given the current circumstances.
I sure hope that's the case.
That's a lot to go back and.
And I know they want to pass the baton on to the new thing, and maybe they think they could just carry 9, but I think that's a mistake.
I don't think they can carry 9.
Huh?
I don't think they could
I
carry
think
9.
Rey
all the
can.
new
I think
people.
Rey and Kylo can.
I don't know, man.
Finn, I'm not happy with where Finn
Yeah, what
is.
about, who was he facing off against?
Finn?
Captain
Phasma?
Yeah.
She survives.
She survives.
So
And-
if
Can't
Finn's
forget about Finn.
undercover there, and we know that Rey ends up on Snoke's ship, do you think Finn and Rey
I just don't- yeah,
somehow like get back
Meet up
together on Snoke's ship?
maybe if that's where Finn is.
I think that's where ultimately culminates everything. Obviously,
Yeah.
I think that's because I think there's all obviously we never saw any of that part in the trailer. There's a whole side of the Resistance still that's happening against the First Order. So you have Poe's story. You got this new character Rose that's on the that's on the poster. You've got Finn, what he's doing. So there's a whole side of that story that Leia that we never really got that much of in this trailer because this was really centered on Rey and Kylo and Luke and so I'm not sure where they're going with Finn. I mean he's going undercover obviously and trying to get behind the scenes again, but of the First Order.
I think it was more of a revenge thing for him, a personal vendetta, because that's what I've kept hearing is Finn is still unsure whether or not he wants to be a part of the Resistance. And that's probably what he ends up deciding at the end is like he fights with the Resistance. But yeah, his story seems so isolated. Poe, he has that big leadership kind of leader moment in the trailer, which was awesome. I got a very much of a Apocalypse X-Men vibe when he was doing the voiceover there. But I think he's got his passing the baton to him on that military side. Who knows what this new characters, Admiral Holdo or DJ. DJ, I think, has got a small part, but Admiral Holdo, it seemed like she was taking the political side of it, but we never saw her in the trailer, so who knows? But
yeah, I mean, there's that whole thing of Canto Bight.
Yeah,
what happens there?
Yeah,
actually,
They didn't show any Canto Bight.
Finn
in
and
the new
Rose,
trailer.
I'm just not excited. But I think that's so isolated stories. Like you had the
It
Resistance
is.
story.
Do
Finn's
we know about
story.
Rose's character?
She's boring. That's all we know. Is that she's very, very boring and ordinary.
Did she
How do
say
we
she
know
was like
that?
That's what they say.
an
That's how they
X-wing
describe
crew
it.
chief or something? Like she's in a maintenance.
She's-
Why
She's
would you
a
put a
maintenance-
boring character in a movie?
That's why I don't like. Why are they marketing so hard that she's such? I mean, I get it, like an ordinary person. Like that's how Luke was. He was an ordinary kid put in this extraordinary situation. But I feel like with Rose, how they've always described her, it's doesn't make me excited for her. But no, she's just like this average maintenance person of Resistance that gets sucked up into Finn's story.
yeah.
But who knows? what she
Janitor
actually
and
is.
I think she's
an
like
amazing
the,
worker.
She's good with hunting.
I think like
essentially.
episode 5, she's like going to be like the Lando character. Like, show up and
maybe.
What have we here?
Yeah.
have a bigger part eventually.
Yeah,
in
six.
episode 9 or something.
Or
Like that.
yeah, 9.
So at the end with Rey, I think everybody's in agreement that's not the same scene, right?
No, but I think Kylo. I think she's addressing Kylo still, and I think Kylo's still reaching.
Oh, you
his
think
hand out.
she's talking to Kylo there?
You don't
Yeah.
think she's talking to Luke?
I think she's talking to Luke.
Anthony made a good point about the lighting.
Sam made a good
yeah.
point about that.
What?
The lighting on Rey's face was not flickering
Excuse
like
me.
the fire.
No, that's true. Yeah,
Well,
Oh,
is that the scene you're talking about? Yeah,
I thought you were
don't-
talking about
light
the
and
light
dark.
in the dark.
I don't think it is
No,
the
not
same
that.
scene.
I thought you were
Yeah, you're
talking about.
the very end.
Yeah, where
'Cause there's
like
fire and
her
stuff.
That's
face
what you're
is
talking
lit.
about. You're talking about the
No,
very,
no,
very
no.
end?
No.
Yeah, at the very, very end.
Yeah, the
is-
very, very end.
When she's-
He's in like a fire. Like there's
there's
ashes and fire, and her face is not flickering. It's a solid glow. It's not flickering at all like a fire would be.
Whether or not they're talking to, she's talking to Luke or Kylo. I think Kylo is reaching his hand out to Rey, and I think that is on the island. Possibly, could be Snoke's ship. don't know.
I
He's
see it.
crashing down around him.
I see
I
the
see it.
island.
Yeah, he says it again as he's flying to it.
I see it.
But no, I think there is that moment where, again, that temptation where Kylo goes to Rey and says, "You need a teacher," kind of a thing. I think that happens again, but Rey accepts it this time. Whether or not it's exactly how we saw in the trailer, obviously not. But
Well,
think
with
that's
all
what
that
happens.
stylized sort of flame and ember lighting, obviously you see Kylo's scar, you kind of can see what Rey's wearing, so you might draw speculation on what part of the movie it would be.
Yeah.
But the thing besides misdirection and tricky editing, which we've kind of talked about before, there's probably going to be force backs or a force back that Rey or Luke or somebody experiences. So, some of these scenes, even Kylo reaching his hand out, could just be a force back that Rey's having, or, like how when Luke's training on Dagobah in Empire, he goes to the cave and, and sees Vader, and but if that was in a trailer
Could
for
be.
Empire, you'd be like, oh, Vader goes to Dagobah.
Yeah.
But Vader doesn't go to Dagobah.
True.
Because it's not real. So any number of those things could also be happening.
Yeah. I don't know who. I don't know. I don't think, again, misdirection. I think he's not. I don't know who he's reaching out to there. I don't know if it's Rey.
Could be Leia.
Could be Luke. Could be Leia. I mean, I don't know. I mean, and then what planet is that actually, or is it just is it Canto, or is it Octo that they happen to start burning stuff and then it's happened there, or if it's is it Crate, because when does Crate come into all of this?
Yeah,
because there's a major battle that happens on that with the speeders and the new AT whatever those are called now. I can't remember. M16s or something, A16s or something like that.
I feel pretty good that Crate is going to be the final battle.
Mm-hmm.
I think I could 100% say that with confidence.
And not Snoke's ship.
I think that Snoke's ship, whatever's happening there in his throne room with him and Rey, could be happening simultaneously during the Battle of Crate, and that is probably the culmination of the third act.
Ah, I see.
Very Return of the Jedi
Very.
for an Empire movie. So we all know it's going to be.
yeah.
Well, here's the question too. When the Falcon is flying, with those, where is that at?
That's
And who's flying it?
See,
Chewie.
I don't think it's
Casey
Crate.
said earlier to me that he thought it was Crate, but I think it's really interesting because Crate, it seems like it's all salt
Rey?
and minerals and red
is.
dust, but the
I think that's what that
cave
is.
looks like red crystal-like.
I think it's a salt crystal.
Yeah. Well,
Salt crystallized
see,
deposits.
but you see that when the stormtroopers are walking into.
which
it's
I
the
think-
same.
I still think which I still think
Kylo.
is
Yes, you think it's Crate though?
I still think that's great.
So I think it's
Because
Octo.
Kylo's ship
I think
is on
it's
Crate.
inside Octo Island. I think it's underground Octo, is where I think.
All the red crystals and all that
Yep.
stuff.
Well, okay, so this is interesting about the red crystals and that being potentially Octo. The Funko Pop toy of Luke from The Last Jedi has a red crystal hanging around his neck, which, unless Luke likes jewelry with his burlap sacks, probably has to be a red
Oh my gosh, you sound like me.
crystal, or at least a portion of it.
Well, he didn't take it from. Well, he could have took it from Vader's lightsaber.
No.
I think,
Vader's lightsaber's
I think
gone.
he
Oh, no, it
cut
was
off his
gone.
hand and
It was
Unless he
gone.
got it
fell
from
down
Crate.
the
'Cause you know
reactor.
he's been to Crate. He could have gotten it from Crate. If that is.
Or Amazon.
That's true.
Just ordered it off Amazon.
Yeah. Drone delivery to Octo.
What you're saying? You think there might be crystals on Crate?
Possibly.
Oh.
I think it's Crate. I think it has. I think all the red stuff, whenever there's red, I think it makes sense, 100% sense that it's Crate because it's red planet.
But it's not
basically.
just red in that. I don't think it's just red in that tunnel. Like there's blue. There's.
Well, there's rocks. There's like black rock.
Yeah,
and
there's
things.
It's rocky.
There's
That's why I
rock.
didn't think it was Crate, because Crate is sand, is minerals.
I think just the top is a dusted. The top layer is just like a dust, but underneath, they kick up. They're chopping up and breaking up all the salt underneath it into dust, basically, because like they're just.
Well, the
scraping.
whole plant. It's a mineral. It's a mineral.
Right,
plant.
and that's why I
it's a
think
It's
mineral.
a shame what they're doing on
underneath
Crate.
it's just
Right.
Cutting up that
terrible.
planet.
Fracking?
Yeah.
I know.
Fracking.
I don't know, because I was just thinking
Shellac.
that whole sequence with the Falcon, I felt like is their escape. They're trying to leave the island.
I think it's
because
just
the
Chewie
Porg
on
is
there.
on it, right? I mean, that's how the Porg gets on it. The
I
Porg
think
gets on
Chewie
from-
So Crate
He's so
probably
cute.
has to happen after Octo because the Porg.
Can't
He's
wait.
That's why
BB-8.
I think
Well,
Chewie
Porg-
leaves early, and Rey stays. I think Chewie leaves with the Porg.
wait, we don't see Chewie on Crate.
He's flying
necessarily.
Falcon in that one
Well,
shot.
Unless
if it is
if it
Crate.
is Crate,
Right.
Yeah, he gets
If what
there
Case- yeah,
from.
if Casey's
I don't-
I think
speculation.
Chewie just gets back into action,
I do too. I do
and he
too.
leaves with and the Porg sneaks on.
So Chewie
somehow.
probably gets like a signal or something from the Resistance.
Yeah, I think
So
it's
Rey
possible.
probably ends up hearing that call. So it's like, what does she do about
Like, what's
that?
Chewie supposed to be doing the whole time while Rey's trying to beg Luke to try
And
to
is R2's with them?
stupid kid?
R2's with them, right?
R2 is with them, and BB-8's with Poe and Finn.
Yeah.
We saw
I don't know
R2
which
in the
one.
trailer.
R2's
No.
not in the trailer.
But he's there on the island when they land.
When they land,
Episode
yeah.
7, yeah.
Well, then he stays
Right.
or goes.
I can't wait to see R2 reunite with Luke. That's got to be awesome, right?
Like yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I could see where it might be Crate. But What's really neat, I'll throw it in there. I'm in the middle of the Leia book, and you know how basically, because I didn't read any of the books that were tagged Journey to the Force Awakens before the movie.
Yeah.
I did afterwards. But apparently, you know, they do that because there's pieces of it that hint. So there's a whole thing in there about Crate, because Leia's been the Crate before. So
this is before the comic series that we're getting.
This is before Episode 4.
Right.
So, yeah, basically there's an old base there, Rebel base there. So that's where I guess that's how they know about it, and she knows about it. Blah blah blah.
Well, because again, connecting it because Lost Stars was a Journey to the Force Awakens
Correct.
book, and they mentioned a car.
They do.
In that
That's
book.
right. Yeah, I realized that after. Sam, I know you got a whole list of stuff. Did we hit everything
Let's see.
that you had wrote down?
Just a list of complaints.
Yeah. I think we actually did cover all of my questions that stuck out to me, except for the little icy fox beans. I'm really excited for those. I thought those looked really intriguing.
Yeah.
But I have no idea.
I think those are on the mineral planet because it looked like they have.
Yeah.
They're like
were on
very
the-
angular
yeah,
and minerally.
They were definitely on
There's a
Crate.
little hanger there, but no, I think Kylo goes to Crate. That's a shuttle landing on Crate. If that is his personal shuttle, which I would think it is. So that's why I think.
Yeah, see that's
That's why I think Kylo and those stormtroopers. That's on Crate because they land and approach.
So
that right there. That
invade.
Yeah. When we're watching this, and Kylo is thinking about shooting Leia's ship, he's still got that scar. So that's very early.
That's why I think
that's very early. So if
in
he
the
does it
first
then,
act.
I mean, I don't think he does it because Leia would be out.
She'd
True.
be dead.
So I don't. If that is what happens, I don't think he pulls the trigger, and I think that might be the turning point where he starts turning good, and Snoke starts getting pissed, and because later on you see in the same trailer that his scar is healing, and some people are still around, so I don't know what kind of Neosporin he has if it's in the course of like a day. We'll heal it up.
It shouldn't be that much time.
Yeah, well, I mean, it
Yeah.
is a wide open scar in the beginning,
Back to Band-Aid. I don't know.
and then
back to
towards the
Band-Aid.
end,
Could be.
it's
Could be.
just like a healed scar.
Now, briefly, I do want to talk about that shot. What's the shot with Rey in the water,
Should be-
gets out, and there's Luke standing there?
That's what looks very ominous to me.
Totally.
Like he's like almost like as if like they're at the ready to fight, almost kind of a thing, or something like that.
Is that part of her training? Is that
Yeah, I took it as the Dagobah
Yeah.
scene.
Mm.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Because he looked kind of like, he looked like kind of ready, like to do something. So
He's fighting.
I don't know if
Have you
there's a
got-
fight there with Rey and Luke.
So there's imagery
Gets on
that's
her back.
been
They know what to do
posted
is.
through either the top Star Wars cards or it's officially out there. But at first I thought it was like some kind of fake fan art, but found out that it was actually coming from an official Star Wars source. And it has like Luke's head largely in the photo, and then it's got stuff of Octo. And in the water, there's like a X-wing that's like stuck underwater there. So I wonder if they're not just like
Crashed in the water again.
not just like on Dagobah where like they try to lift it out, but I don't know.
I don't believe
I
he used to
know.
bullseye Womp Rats. He sucks as a pilot. There's no way if he crashed 2 X-wings.
He did destroy a Death Star,
That's interesting though.
but okay.
That's true, he did destroy
What
a
else?
Death Star.
Anything else anybody want to add
Well,
before we wrap this up?
Kind of to some of Jeb's point about Kylo and his struggle with Leia and the light side and the dark side. I think we mentioned a lot about Rey's training, but one thing that kind of stands out to me is that even a lot in The Force Awakens, and you see the pattern of how it went. If you compare that with the original trilogy, Luke doesn't go up against Vader until Empire, but Kylo goes up against Rey and loses the first battle, right? And then Luke goes and gets his training at Dagobah, and then he leaves his training. So what if when Kylo is getting trained by Snoke, what if Kylo doesn't finish his training from the dark side and leaves it for some sort of selfish reason? Oh, now I know where Luke is. I'm going to go find him.
Yeah.
Not because Snoke sends him, but he just decides to abandon his training. And that could continue to allow that struggle and conflict of light and dark because he never finishes his dark side and training or whatever training Snoke is trying to give him.
Indeed.
That's
Good
yeah,
points.
that's very good point. Because again, there's going to be a lot of thematic repeats from these trilogies.
I do think we're going to be surprised by something. We're all going to be surprised by something.
I felt like after watching the trailers for Force Awakens, I had a pretty good idea of how the movie was going to go. I have some idea, but I truly don't have that much confidence in what the story is going to be about. I think there's going to be. I think they're keeping so much secret. Because this is the last one. I'm pretty sure this is it. This all we're getting. With Force Awakens, we got 3 trailers and a ton of TV spots, a behind the scenes thing.
We may get little TV spot, like
We'll get
little
TV
shot
spots,
here and
but
there.
it won't be anything more than what we've seen, I think. So there's still a great deal of secrecy, I think, underneath this. Very much similar to Empire Strikes Back. I mean, no one knew that was going to happen at all. Not even the cast. Most of the cast did. So,
well, the trailer did its job. It
agree.
Got everybody excited.
Totally agree.
We've been sitting here talking about it for an hour,
and we will for the next 65 days.
Yeah, we'll have a countdown.
Got our tickets.
We did get our tickets.
We did get our tickets.
Yep. Tickets, Sam.
I do not have tickets.
We
yet.
got tickets.
Get out.
I've got tickets for you.
We got tickets for you.
Yeah, I talked to Dave earlier, and he said I could have one of his mini tickets.
Yeah, you got tickets. Okay, so other than that, thanks for being a part of our.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's rolling.
Thanks for being a part of our 200th episode.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Except
Glad to
Anthony,
be here.
he's not here.
Milestone.
Oh
Everybody.
yeah, Anthony left. He abandoned us.
200
years.
4.5 years.
Episodes.
That we've been. God bless. 4.5 years. That's right. Yeah. Many more to go.
Oh yeah, man.
Right?
What's up?
As long as they're pumping out Star Wars, I guess.
This is my last show.
I think as long as they're making money, they're going to keep making movies.
Yeah,
they are.
So there's the Han Solo.
I mean, they're in business to make money.
That for 2018.
That'll be the next one we talk about.
Yeah, what was that? May, right? May.
Yeah, May 2018.
May 2018.
Yeah, if they can do 2 a year, I'm going to spend a whole. I need a raise. They start doing 2 Star Wars movies a year. I'm going to.
They're not yet. It's once a year still. So.
Well, they're 6 months apart now. It seems like.
Well, that one is, but then you got a year and a half till episode 9 after Han Solo.
Oh, that is right.
You have Kenobi the next year.
Kenobi probably 2020 maybe. Yeah, I guess that's the next one if we get more details about that. But
2019.
Episode 9 is 2019.
Jeez.
It'd be 2020.
Yeah.
It would be Kenobi.
Oh God.
So we got
We're pretty
3
close
years
to
for that one.
2050.
Huh?
We're getting close to 2050.
Close to 2050.
Closer to 2050 than we are like 1990.
Okay.
What are you doing to me?
Yeah, don't make me think like that. Okay. All right. Appreciate everybody listening, and make sure to go to our website to get the show and subscribe. We're on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, all that stuff. You guys, your Twitter, Chad Perkins 21. Do you have a Twitter, Sam?
No, I don't do that.
You don't do Twitter?
No.
Cody Geiler.
Twitter and
It's easy.
Instagram, Cody Geiler.
Yeah.
G-Y-L-E-R.
Jeb, you don't do Twitter either.
I don't have Twitter. I have an Instagram, but it's for here.
You have a very fun Facebook page.
You don't want to go there.
All right. He's Kryptonian1138 on Twitter. And I'm DCottingham21. So thanks, everybody, for listening. And we will obviously keep diving more and more into this trailer because, again, I think this is it for the next 65 days. Again, go to our YouTube channel. We got our commentaries and stuff that we're doing and trailers for the movies. We've got 5, 6, and 7 to put out there with these guests. Chad and Cody will be part of that. Those will be out the next few months. That is it. Thanks, Jeb.
Appreciate it.
Cody.
Thanks for having me.
Sam.
Yeah.
Was this fun?
Yeah, definitely.
Chadwick.
Yarp.
4K Schoolie.
I don't know if I can do a quote today. So I'm feeling
Don't
too
worry
well.
about it.
Yeah.
I'm Dave Cottingham. May the Force be with you.
Thank you for listening to Inside the Force, a Star Wars podcast hosted by David Cottingham and Casey Cooley. For more shows, additional content, articles, and the latest Star Wars news, please visit InsideTheForce.com. Inside the Force. For the Force within all of us.